Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
We are from Group 5 and now we're gonna explain very interesting topics about power and the economy.
Hi everyone, my name is Shirin Azana Karim and I'm going to explain you about power and economic organization. In the United States, economic power is brought by large organizations and government agencies. Economics studies what, how, and for whom goods and services are produced, using resources and incentives. Decisions are made through markets where individuals trade voluntarily and governments, which enforce rules. Most economies combine both systems to allocate resources. Next is the market system and hard-boiled and impersonal. The economic system organizes how scarce resources are produced and distributed, addressing the fundamental problem of scarcity and choice. The American market system is largely unplanned, relying on private individuals and businesses, motivated by profit to decide what, how, and how much to produce. Next, there are markets, profits, prices, and an ideal market. First, markets enable voluntary exchanges where prices determined by supply and demand guide production and distribution. Next, profits drive businesses to meet consumer demand, especially while wages depend on workers' contribution to production. Next, prices allocate goods to those willing and able to pay, with competition ensuring fair pricing. And last, an ideal market features perfect competition, exclusion of non-payers, and mobility of resources, allowing prices to reflect supply and demand without outside interference.
Next, I want to explain about supply, demand, and market price. For supply, to understand how markets work, we need to look at supply and demand and how price balance the two. Types of markets. 1. Product markets, for goods and supplies purchased by consumers. 2. Labor markets, for jobs with which as the price of labor. 3. Capital market, for money lent by banks and other lenders to business and consumers. At the Chicago Board of Trade, wheat prices are driven by supply and demand. First, at $2 or pesos, demand 20 million. Supply 10 million, certain price rises. 2. At $4 or pesos, demand 8 million, supply 18 million. Surplus, price falls. 3. Price stabilizes at $3 or pesos with demand, supply 14 million, equilibrium price. The government's economic rules include: first, protecting property rights and contracts. 2. Maintaining money stability. 3. Ensuring fair competition. 4. Setting labor standards. 5. Regulating key industries. 6. Protecting consumers. 7. Providing public service or infrastructure. And 8. Supporting vulnerable individuals through welfare.
Economic theories that inform economic policy. Today's economic policy began with laissez-faire economics, limiting government to order and basic service. Industrialization, monopolies, and inequality that are years achieved toward regulated capitalism. During the Great Depression, Keynes argued market don't self-correct and promote fiscal intervention with policies. In the Employment Act of 1946, Keynesian guided policy for a decade but faltered with 1970 stagflation. This led to alternative supply side economics in 1980, tax cut, deregulation, and monetarism. The contemporary American economy. The region and administration cut the top tax from 70% to 28%, reducing inflation and unemployment but creating records deficit. George H.W. Bush raised it to 31% to curb deficit, contributing to his 1992 defeat. Clinton rejected trickle-down economics, raised tax on top earners, cut defense, and invested in public sectors, leading to strong growth, low unemployment, stable inflation, and surplus in 1990. George W. Bush used broad tax cut after 201 recession and 9/11, but the housing bubble collapse caused the 210 crisis. He enacted the $700 billion to stabilize bank, and Obama responded with $787 billion Recovery Act of 2009, combining cut tax, public investment, and firm regulation to fight recession and create a job.
Okay, I want to talk about measuring American wealth. First, GDP is total annual values of goods and service, measuring output, not well-being. Excludes unpaid work, leisure, income, and gaps. GDP per capita through welfare. Ungrown economy 5 to 10% uncontent. Need content dollar for real growth. Inflation to adjusted. Second, federal revenue and spending. Revenue $2 trillion, income tax 49%, payroll 36%, corporate 10%, exchange 3.5%, and others. Spending 60% plus on entitlement programs. Social Security 21%, Medicare 14%, Medicaid 7%, and public aid 5%. Mandatory debt interest. Challenge: aging population, rising costs. Second, debt deficit and surplus. Deficit is spending to revenue. Surplus, revenue to spending. 1998 first bills budget since 1969. Deficit $106 billion in 2002, $296 billion in 2006, $438 billion in 2008. Debt $11 trillion, $37 per person or $183 per family. 80% owed to Americas, 20% foreigners. Impact and politics of debt. Debt 60% of GDP. WWII peak 110%. Future issue new bonds to pay off ones. Interest payment use current taxes. Growth of private investment, slower growth. Politically hard. No one wants tax hikes or cuts to Social Security or Medicare. Debt shift to future generation. Post 2001, war, tax cut, homeland security, deficit crisis.
Economic power in America is heavily influenced by major economic and financial institutions. They determine what is produced, the number of workers and wages, the distribution of goods and services, the development of new products, and the allocation of investment. Their decisions have a profound impact on people's lives, comparable to those of the government. Power in corporation. Power in corporation lies mainly with inside directors, full-time managers, who control daily operations, while outside directors may represent shareholders, banks, or communities. They are usually chosen by management. Top directors are officially elected by shareholders. Management slate almost always wins stock proxy votes, keeping real power away from employees and small shareholders. Managerial power. After the Industrial Revolution US, corporations shifted from tycoon control to professional managers. Top managers often pursued personal gain. Shareholders had little influence beyond selling stock. From the 1940 to 1970, strong growth made this system fair, effective, benefiting both managers and owners. Corporate counter-revolution. Traditionally, top managers of large corporations were nearly untouchable, facing little challenge from directors, shareholders, employees, or consumers. Since the 1908, however, their power has been checked by active outside directors and major shareholders, as well as hostile takeover by corporate riders seeking to replace management. Corporate riders. It hostile takeover riders by enough stock, often with borrow fund to replace management and gain control, leaving the company with heavy debt. Supporters claim takeover both efficiency and shareholder value, while critics argue they promote short-term gains, defensive tactic, jobs loss, and financial instability. The principal agent problem briefly in the late 2000s scandal showed CEO profiting as prime filer. Age 2008 bailout of 182 billion sparked outrage after 150 million in bonus were paid. From the 2009 stimulus to restrict executive pay at rescue companies. The benefit of trade. Trade benefit consumers with cheaper imports and give exporters wider markets. Foreign sales in the US generate dollars that return to buy American goods. World Trade Organization. International economic agreements and organizations support the global economy. The World Trade Organization, founded in 1993 with 117 members, resolves trade disputes and enforces agreements. NAFTA. In 1993, the US, Canada, and Mexico signed NAFTA, eliminating most tariffs within 10 to 15 years and opening financial service across borders despite Indian concern. Studies show it benefit both the US and Mexico with little effect on US labor. Trade deficit. The US imports more than exports, creating a trade deficit covered by dollar, bonds, and securities sent abroad. Foreigners acceptance of these assets help fund US debt with about 20% of government debt held by foreign investors. The case protectionism. While most economies support the trade, protectionists argues that foreign competition threatens U.S. jobs, lower wage, and greater environmental laws abroad give foreign producer a comparative advantage that America cannot easily match.
So, after listening to this topic, we have examined power in the economy. Economic power is deciding about the production and distribution of goods and services, what will be produced, how it will be produced, and to whom it will be produced. Thank you for listening.